So, Jane Elliot, a lifelong civil rights activist and LGBT activist and an anti-bigotry teacher, um, is famous for her blue eye, brown eye experiment, which she started after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. to talk about bigotry in America. Now, her test was relevant then because there were a good portion of the white race who thought they were superior than black Americans. There was only a minority of white people who didn't think like that, who thought black people were like them, individuals, human beings. So, fast forward 50 years later. Fast forward 50 years later. Mrs. Elliot still holds this idea that white people are born into white supremacist families or racist white families. That's wrong. As I said, this is where I disagree with her because ever since the civil rights movement, marriages in the United States have been overwhelmingly interracial. Not only have they been overwhelmingly interracial, they've been overwhelmingly mixed cultured. And besides that, the tolerance in this country went up. Racism is not as bad as it used to be. There's a good majority of the white population in America that isn't bigoted. There's a good majority of the white population in America who detest bigotry, who, as we've seen with the aftermath of the Charlottesville, Virginia riots, called out neo-Nazis for their bigoted views towards Jewish people and anybody who is in white. Okay? So to say that the majority of white people are raised in white supremacist families is bullshit. I was not raised in a white supremacist family. I detest bigotry. My family isn't prejudiced. And I was raised in a non-prejudiced household. I don't have prejudiced views. Okay? I don't. I disagree with Miss Elliot on another point that she says. She says that America should be seen as a salad bowl and not as a melting pot. I'm sorry, but that's wrong. I rather view America as a melting pot, the blending of different cultures. I play jazz music on my saxophone. Jazz music is noted with black culture, but white culture liked the music too, and we adopted it. We blended it with our culture too. And when we had country music, black culture like that, and they blended country music with their culture. America's a melting pot because we have all these different cultures that blend together. We have the Chinese culture, the Japanese culture, the black culture, the white culture, the Italian culture, the Hispanic culture, you name it. We have all these cultures in America that blend together, and that's what makes the United States the United States. If you view America as a salad bowl where you say we should appreciate our cultures as they are and not blend them together. So you're basically saying we're a separate but equal nation, which is not the case. Which is not the case. We are not a separate but equal nation. We are an integrated nation. So therefore, that makes us a melting pot. That doesn't make us a salad bowl, that makes us a melting pot. Another place where I disagree with Miss Elliot is that all minorities are targeted by police. Look, police brutality is a problem in this country. I am not saying that it's fine and dandy. It's a problem. But black people aren't the only ones brutalized by police. There have been white women raped by cops, white cops. And cops got off scot-free. So don't tell me that cops only brutalize black people or people of non-white descent. They also brutalize white people too. Police brutality doesn't discriminate. Believe me, it does not discriminate. One of my friends had an encounter with a police officer that didn't even read him his Miranda rights and just threw him in the back of the police car. That isn't police brutality. I would agree with her that the police need to be retrained in America because the police are getting too militant. She is right about that. The police are getting too militant. The police are throwing gas cans towards peaceful protesters, either at Antifa rallies, neo-Nazi rallies, you name it. Police are throwing tear gas cans at peaceful protesters, and that's a problem. People have the right to protest in this country, regardless if you agree with the rhetoric or not. But here's the thing, though. The police shouldn't be acting like the military. And yes, the police need to be retrained. I agree with Miss Elliot there, but I don't think that the police in general's intentions is just to brutalize black people. Because there are black police officers, Chinese police officers, white police officers who don't brutalize people. There's only that few number of each officer from each racial background that brutalizes people. And that few number of cops ruins it for the rest of the cops who are actually decent, good-hearted human beings who actually want to serve and protect. So don't tell me that all cops want to brutalize people of minorities. And don't tell me that white people aren't also victims of police brutality. We are. I know, Miss Jane Elliot probably thinks I'm being ignorant right now. But I'm not. I'm looking at the facts here. I'm looking at facts here. I'm looking at the reality of the America I live in. Larry Elder, a black conservative, grew up in a segregated America. He's in his 60s now. He doesn't see racism as bad as it was. He sees racism, but it's not as bad as it was. You know, That's the problem. People want to view America as the most racist nation on in the world, but it's really not. America is really the more accepting nation of all. And we gotta look at the facts here. How many white people are white nationalists? Very, very few. That very, very few people are losers in life. They think that the world should just be a white world. The majority of white people don't think like that. So it's a very, very few percentage of people in the white race who are actually white nationalists. Just like there are very, very few black people who are black nationalists. You don't see many black nationalists. Just like there's very, very few people from each racial background or ethnic background who thinks that their race or background is superior. And the majority of those racial and ethnic backgrounds don't think like that. So, let's be honest here. America is the least racist nation in the whole world. China, on the other hand, is one of the most fucking bigoted. There was a survey asked by civil liberty unions around the globe. And the question was, would you be okay with a person of a different race living next to you? In America, the answer was overwhelmingly yes. The answer was overwhelmingly yes. In Canada, Mexico, overwhelmingly yes. In China, overwhelmingly no. In China, they really hate people who don't look like them or who don't partake in their culture. So, what nation is the most racist again? It's not America, it's China. And she says that people should see skin color and not be racist. People shouldn't be racist, I agree. But why should we see skin color? You know, your hero, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream speech, and you know that speech still. So I don't need to remind you that he said that his 4 little children will grow up in a nation where they're not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And for the most part, that has happened. For the most part, that has happened. And even Martin Luther King Jr.'s nephews, nieces, grandchildren, great-grandchildren will grow up in this very same nation where no one judges them on their skin color, but based on the content of their character. And one more point where I disagree with Mrs. Elliot. I disagree with her when she says that white people are never victims of bigotry. Horse shit! Yes, there are white people who are victims of bigotry. The reason why Charlottesville happened is because you had Black Lives Matter and Antifa saying white lives don't matter or white people should be dead. That's not bigotry. And that didn't lead up to the retaliation of the neo-Nazis. That was a major part of it. The whole fuck white people rhetoric. That could turn anybody into a hateful bigot. Why is this video so long? Because her view on bigotry in America is very outdated. Very outdated. She has the view that everybody in America who's white is racist. Well, we're not. We're not all racist. Just like not all black people are racist. Just like not all Chinese people are racist. Just like not all Italians are racist. Not every single white person or black person or whatever skin color who lives in America is racist. The overwhelming majority of Americans don't see skin color and see content of character. Something Martin Luther King Jr. urged us to see instead of skin color. Yes, I stand against bigotry myself. I call bigotry out. I call sexism out. I call homophobia, transphobia out when I see it. But guess what? I don't accuse everybody I talk to of being a racist, a sexist, transphobe, or a homophobe. Because the majority of people just don't consider skin color or sexuality as important characteristics to a person's content and character. See you guys.